Hi everyone, my name is DeLacy Taylor, CEO of Self-Care Soul Care. I come to you on day 2 of my yoga challenge with Yoga Download. It's actually the 2-week vibration and creation New Year's challenge. And if you missed yesterday's video explained that each day of this yoga challenge, we had the option to choose between an all levels or more so beginners type of course or an intermediate course. Today, I chose the all levels course. Yesterday, I chose the intermediate course based on the title. But considering that I'm just now getting back into ramping up my yoga practice, I thought it best that I stick with the all levels. And perhaps I'll come back and do the intermediate at a later time. One thing about the class that I chose, which was actually Mindful Motion for Healing, that particular course was interesting because there were some movements that I wasn't familiar with. Now, my background and my yoga practice is more so for vinyasa, hatha, and restorative yoga. Those are the types that I prefer. This was more or less a sort of restorative yoga. This particular class was a 35-minute class. And one of the things that I should have done was to watch the entire video in its entirety so that I can be prepared for those things that I wasn't so familiar with. I also should have had a blanket. Now, mind you, they mentioned in the description that the recommended props was a blanket, and I didn't recognize until well after I'd already started my practice that a blanket was required. The blanket was helpful more so towards the end for the Shavasana phase, and I actually paused the video to get up to go get my blanket. So if you decide to do this 2-week yoga challenge with Yoga Download, I recommend that not only do you read the description to understand what it is that you're getting into, but also take a look at the top and see what props are recommended. Also, you may consider watching the video in its entirety so that you can become familiar with some of the moves. I found myself constantly looking up just to make sure that I was following along. Now, the yoga instructor did a great job at explaining some things, but because there were some things that I was not as familiar with, I found myself looking up more often than not. Another thing I recommend is that you lay your yoga mat not vertical to where your head faces the television, but I recommend that you lay it at an angle so that it's not as distracting for you to constantly look up and check in to make sure that you're following along with the instructor. After my second day of yoga, I had a sense of accomplishment. I know it's just the beginning of 2 weeks, but being consistent is what's important. So showing up for yourself on your mat and being consistent, those are the 2 things that I recommend that anyone who's taking on any type of challenge, be it yoga, running, weight training, whatever it is that you decide to do for your own fitness challenge, your fitness level, I recommend that you are consistent and that you always take care of yourself and make that time to take care of yourself.